So I'm George Church, professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School and the Wyss Institute. We work on technology development, usually as out of the box and transformative as possible, and that requires an interdisciplinary team. And I think actually art is one of the best foundations for interdisciplinary discussion, because by removing it temporarily from practical consideration, even though arts often means the constructive arts that were of practical value when they, like painting was a way of doing photography, and photography was a way of recording events. Nevertheless, you can intentionally detach it from practical circumstances for a moment, dream, but yet build. So it's one of the few places where you can really build dreams without having immediate, difficult debugging. I mean, it's not to say there's no debugging in art, but it's just a different. You can go further, faster, with fewer failures. I think you need to have a culture of accepting failure, and I mean, not glorifying it, but accepting it and doing it quickly, getting it over with, doing it early rather than putting off the hardest thing until you've invested 10 years in something and then you realize that there was a brick wall there all along, that it's impenetrable. And also trying to avoid words like impenetrable and impossible and too expensive and things like that, because those are very ephemeral concepts that if you're really doing transformative technology, things that were impossible or way too expensive become trivial and cheap, and sometimes in very short periods of time. Another project that I think illustrates the interdisciplinary approach is encoding digital or any kind of information, digital or analog, into DNA, which is itself a kind of digital encoding. And Joe Davis did arguably the first example of this. I mean, there were some theoretical musings since the 60s, but the first actually trying to do it and thinking about the practicality of it, Joe did in 1986, where he encoded a nice line diagram, black and white, 5 by 7 pixels, not a lot of pixels, which is encoded in something like 26 base pairs of DNA in a living organism. And then since then, that event already required interdisciplinary efforts of molecular biologists and artists and some computational thought. But now it's gone on, so it's engaging Microsoft and Technicolor and all kinds of digital storage groups and archivists who worry about things lasting many years. And it's really a much bigger thing that is likely to have a practical, not just artistic, impact on the world. And then feed back to art, in the sense that one of the main things we're trying to archive now are video or film archives, starting with Voyage to the Moon, which was one of the classic first hand-colored film. So it kind of comes full circle back to art.